Hey everybody, I'm Anthony and this is the Facts on JW. Today we're going to be looking at the September JW broadcasting. It's kind of but it does have some key points I'm going to talk about, and the fact of how Jehovah's Witnesses have to be told to be nice to each other. How the governing body controls everything these guys do and think. We're going to go over a few points that they make here and how they like to cherry pick a whole lot of scripture to try to back up what they're saying. They go all over from all books of the Bible and try to put it together to validate their points and taking it, as usual, out of context. But let's take a look at this. And for anybody that thinks these people do charity, you are seriously fooled. It's, by the way, when they say Christian, they consider only Jehovah's Witnesses Christian. Everybody else is part of Satan's system of things and Babylon the Great, Christendom. They're the only true Christians. So don't be fooled by their lingo. It's just the way that they put things just to fool other people. So anyway, pay close attention. I'm going to go through a few key points here. And I wish there was more to talk about. There's not. It's kind of a song at the end. It's like, eh. So, just like every month, I think there's a song. It's like, eh. So, without any further hesitations, let's do this.
Welcome to JW Broadcasting. Since all of us experience trials, you'll appreciate this month's program, which focuses on the topic of comfort. We'll learn how comfort can bring joy to the giver and the receiver. Caregivers provide constant comfort. But who comforts them? Damian and Carolina share how the Bible and loving friends help them continue caring for their loved ones. As we dig for treasures in the book of Joel, we'll examine the power of endurance during times of trial. And our music video highlights the importance of expressing gratitude to those we care about. This is JW Broadcasting. From the time we were born, all of us have been in need of comfort. You don't remember the first time you cried because you were hungry, uncomfortable, or needing to be held. But you probably do remember the last time you needed comfort. And no doubt many of us are in need of comfort right now. This is understandable. Psalm 90, verse 10, poetically describes our life as imperfect humans by stating, "The span of our life is 70 years, or 80 if one is especially strong. But they are filled with trouble and sorrow. They quickly pass by, and away we fly." Many different situations can cause us trouble and sorrow, disappointment, or pain. Some of them are what we might call common because every imperfect human has to deal with them.
Well, obviously you can see they love to play with emotions. They love to talk about things that they know that they can get you to feel that connection with and suck you in to see their viewpoint. These things are very well written. Even though they look silly, they're kind of ridiculous. They're done very strategic. So, everybody's going to have troubles, trials, and tribulations in their life. That is part of being human. Whether it's imperfect or otherwise, it's just part of being on this earth. But, when they talk about it, you got to remember, Jehovah's Witnesses consider they are the only true religion, and you should only help or give comfort to another Jehovah's Witness who is in good standing. You should never really associate with the worldly people or the outside world. So, so you got to look at what they're saying. And they have to be told to do this. Like, it's kind of a constant reminder for them to be told to give comfort to someone or to do good deeds. When Watchtower itself, the headquarters, Bethel, never, ever, ever does any charity work, never does anything to help anyone whatsoever. They have no homeless shelters. They have no food drives. They don't help their own members in that regard. And the only way their members get help is from each other. And headquarters takes all the glory. It's really ingenious, I have to say. But these guys are just playing with people's emotions right here. So when you've got to be told to help someone or to be a caregiver, that's not from your heart. That's not real. That's doing it because you feel obligated to do it. You know, and then they pat themselves on the back as if they've done a good deed when they've been told to do something by a group of men that's going to do all the thinking for you and not allow you to think for yourself. So, anyway, let's keep on because there's some really good points in this. And like I said, most of this video is not that great, but this is really good.
Getting sick, growing old, and grieving the death of a loved one. Other reasons for distress could be called circumstantial. Accidents, economic problems, the breakup of a marriage, natural disasters, becoming a victim of abuse or other crimes, civil unrest, and war. In addition, we may need comfort related to our worship, living in a divided household, experiencing persecution or imprisonment, facing ridicule in school or at the workplace.
Oh my. Okay, so we need comfort from being sick. Of course we do. Usually our spouse or our children we take care of, or they take care of us. Our loved ones that's in our home. Death of a loved one always hurts. It's good to have comfort. Sometimes you need space and then you need comfort. Those things are just normal. It's not. But I guess if you're a witness, you got to be told to give comfort to those people, I assume. And, you know, if you've got some religious issues with your faith, you might need comfort with that. What? So if you're questioning your faith because you know you've been lied to? If you're having problems at the workplace because you've been apostatizing to people. But yet, wait a minute, you say you're not doing that, but yet you're trying to bring people to Jehovah. So you either are or you are not. It's the lies they tell. So with just normal, everyday life, the things that happen, the good and the bad in life, that our closest family members give us this comfort. These people have to be told by their leadership to give comfort. It's ridiculous. You know, these people, they play on emotions. They do these videos that really manipulate people and manipulate with using the emotions. And it's sad. It's really a true brainwashing technique. If there ever was one, if you guys will read brainwashing and see what it is and take a look at the bite model and take a good look at what they're doing, this is, you know, a typical brainwashing cult. They are the epitome of cult. So, you know, if you're a Jehovah's Witness, you're watching this, take a good look at your own self. And when you start placing those crazy, angry, bitter comments down below about how, you know, apostates or whatever you want to call everybody, and how everybody's good of Satan and you're the only true religion, stop and think about what drives you to be so angry and where all that anger is coming from. 'Cause there's a lot of anger in witnesses. And you'll see it. If you pay close attention, you see it. And a lot of it is because they've been manipulated, they've been brainwashed into this cult, and they're told how to react to things. And the cult tells them. As a matter of fact, I remember an elder telling me to hate the things that are not following the direction of the governing body. To hate those things. So that's kind of interesting. Anyway, this video is kind of informative just to get a good look at what they're doing here and how they like to play on those emotions and to get your reaction in them and to manipulate the people. All right, so let's keep on and take a really good look at this. Next one's really good too. Oh, by the way, and Jehovah's Witnesses have to be told to be nice to each other, but also told when to reach out and help each other. But the headquarters never does any of that. Interesting. So let's continue on. Enjoy.
Or perhaps a family member or a close friend leaves Jehovah. Repentant wrongdoers also need comfort when they return to the congregation.
All right, let's talk about when these evil wrongdoers get reinstated and back members of the congregation again, and their lives robbed once more. What do Jehovah's Witnesses really wish they could do to the wrongdoers? Well, let's take a look to the Aid to Bible Understanding, and then we'll take a look to the Insight on Scriptures book. And this was just printed and reprinted, actually, in May of 2023. So if you want to see exactly what they think, take a really good look at this. Because how did Jehovah cleanse the congregation back in the olden days? Yeah, good old stoning. Yeah, took them outside the city walls. That's what they wish they could do. Insight on Scripture tells them all about it. So. And the Aid to Bible Understanding as well. So this is something they keep reprinting since the 60s. So obviously they really believe this if it's good enough for them to keep reprinting this. All right. So I just had to put this in here because they talk about when a wrongdoer returns. They made a point to emphasize the word wrongdoer. So what they really wish they could do was stone them and get rid of them. That's pretty bad. All right, let's keep on.
Jehovah has always been the ultimate source of true comfort. Moses was convinced that Jehovah would support and comfort him no matter what situation he faced. With confidence, he wrote what we find at Deuteronomy 33:27. God is a refuge from ancient times. His everlasting arms are beneath you. When we're down and struggling to get up, Jehovah will put his arms beneath us, gently lift us up, and help us to get back on our feet. The Psalms repeatedly express appreciation for Jehovah's tender care and comfort. For example, the writer of Psalm 94:19 voiced his gratitude to Jehovah by saying, "When anxieties overwhelmed me, you comforted and soothed me," as Romans 15:4 confirms. All the things that were written beforehand were written for our instruction, so that through our endurance and through the comfort from the Scriptures, we might have hope. No matter what's causing us distress, we can find Scriptures that bring us comfort. The book Scriptures for Christian Living includes the heading Comfort, which discusses many causes of discouragement. Not only does it direct us to Scriptures that confirm Jehovah's loving care.
Okay. This book with the Bible Scriptures to comfort you, I have no trouble with that whatsoever, but this one here is slanted. It's loaded with scriptures that's taken out of context and slanted to back up their doctrine and the rules and regulations of Watchtower that are not biblical. You know, like it's great to have Bible scriptures that give you comfort, that bring you peace. Good example, 1 Peter 5:10. It's peaceful. Many of the verses in Psalms, peaceful. It's great. As long as they're taken within the context they're meant to be given in. Read the chapter, then find the verse that gives you comfort, but read the chapter. Don't just quote this verse, skip over three books and find another verse, and then compile it together and try to say it means something that it doesn't. And that's what these people do notoriously. It's cherry-pick scripture, and that's blasphemy. But anyway, they're speaking in a humble, sincere tone here to give you a sense of confidence within them. You know, like they're like a ravenous wolf seeking to devour, so be careful. Because they come to you and they're very nice, very friendly, but the core is harsh and anger. Good example is just watch any of the comments in any of the exjws and look at some of the things they say and how harsh and angry these people are. And it breeds anger. And that's all these scriptures do that they're quoting. It's just another way to bring that indoctrination and to give you a false belief into their group, their organization. Because you got to remember, Jehovah and Watchtower are one and the same to them. You know, witnesses lie. They're notorious for lying. But if they give you their honest, truthful answer, the Watchtower is equal to the Bible to them. Even though the governing body's not inspired, they're uninspired, infallible. Think about that. So that means nothing they say really means a hill of beans. But yet, this is God's chosen organization, and according to what they say, they still speak in for Jehovah. They get information from Jehovah God, Jesus Christ, out to the governing body, out to the masses. But yet they say they don't, but they do. They double talk. You can't have it both ways. It's interesting. And when they get it wrong, they don't owe nobody an apology. So think about it when you're reading scriptures that are supposed to bring you comfort and bring you peace. Are you being comforted and finding peace in something that is harmful? Or are you finding comfort and being brought peace into something that is spiritually healthy? Really look at that hard. Read the whole chapter of the verse that it's taken from. Wherever you find a verse, go read the whole chapter and then give your honest opinion. You will find, not every time, but you will find 90% of the time the verse is taken out of context. So, anyway, I just had to stop and elaborate on this for a moment. It's not super duper important, but well, it is important. But it shows you how Watchtower functions, how it works. And now that it's falling and members are leaving by the masses, they're scared. They're trying to play damage control. They're lightening up on a lot of the rules, which will help some. And they know this. But it's not going to stop the inevitable. It's just like now they're saying Ramapo will be finished in 2030. That thing just keep getting pushed further back. It's they know the writing's on the wall. Their days are numbered. Members leaving by the droves. There's no young left. So lighten things up and see if we can keep what we can. Old witnesses will not even recognize this organization in another 5 years, which might be their saving grace, but let's cross our fingers and hope not. Here we go. Let's continue to watch.
The comfort Jehovah provides when we endure tribulation can train us to be more sensitive to the needs of others. And that's the first step to giving comfort, being attentive and observant to identify those in need of comfort. In many cases, the need is obvious. Our brother met with an accident, or has lost his job, or a close friend or a family member has died. For some, the need may not be so obvious. We may notice a change in behavior, or their facial expression may tell us that something is troubling them. We don't want to pry, but we can kindly approach them and gently draw them out. They may need time before they feel comfortable opening up about their feelings, so we want to be patient. The second step to giving comfort is pray to determine what we can do. There may be little or nothing we can do to eliminate the cause of their distress. For example, a longtime missionary who lost his wife said, "I don't want to get over it. I just want to learn to cope." The important thing for us to do is to apply the words of Proverbs 3:27. Do not withhold good from those to whom you should give it, if it is within your power to help.
All right, everybody. This one's pretty interesting here. They are telling you how to be able to give comfort to someone and what to look for. They have to remind their members how to give comfort to people and when to give it. Because, as I've said before, Jehovah's Witnesses are very harsh and angry people. So they remind them in multiple videos, multiple watchtowers, to give comfort and how to know when to give comfort. It's obviously they're not a very comforting group of people. And very good advice, but however, you'll notice he said to whom deserves it. So are those whom need comfort. And it's like whom, when you hear them say whom deserves it, or those whom are in need, that means other witnesses in good standing. They do not believe in giving comfort or showing compassion to anyone who is not a Jehovah's Witness. So always keep that in mind. You're not even deserving of the truth if you're not a Jehovah's Witness. They can lie to you and there's no sin in it. And they call that theocratic warfare. They'll mislead, they'll lie, they'll skirt issues. They have no compassion to anyone that's not part of that group. And even within that group, there's very limited compassion. So it's all about Watchtower. It's all about what you can do for Watchtower. And because they consider Watchtower and Jehovah one and the same. Because that's Jehovah's chosen organization, supposedly. It's really sad when you sit down and look at something that sounds like a really good, touching, heartfelt message. And then when you really listen to it and really understand what's going on and see what they're presenting here and what it really means, there's nothing compassionate about it. So it's them trying to tell their members to show compassion to each other. They're leaving in mass droves, and so they're trying to put a Band-Aid on the hemorrhage of members. That's just mass exodus. And this is not going to work. They're going to try this. It's just not. The changing the doctrines is going to help some. But the fact is, when they say anything with whom deserves this or whom this, pay close attention to that, because this means give the truth to those whom deserve it. That means only give the truth to a Jehovah's Witness in good standing. Be kind to whom deserves it. This only be kind to those as Jehovah's Witnesses in good standing. It's a very harsh and cold religion. They show love bombing to people who come in. They're not yet baptized, or if you're newly baptized, which that's cult 101. We all know cults love bomb their new members, and over a period of time it fades away, and there's no love bombing left. And the only bond that you somewhat kind of get is if you grew up in it and there's other members within your age group. Sometimes you bond because you don't have nothing in common with nobody else. But even that's very limited. You have to watch everything you say, everything you do. It's really terrible organization of people. So anyway, let's continue to watch this. And I just had to come in and elaborate a little bit on that, because you have to tell your members when to show compassion. You have to tell your members what to look for to show compassion. And they're constantly doing this. If you'll watch the watchtowers and watching videos, they'll do it. And then they love the persecution card. And they are always talking about they're persecuted. And they're, it's like back in the days of the Romans when they threw the Christians in the amphitheaters, it's to the lions. It's it's really kind of silly, but they love to play the persecution card.
When I look at this picture of Aristarchus holding on to Paul, sticking close to him through a challenging time, it makes me think about how brothers and sisters really helped me out through a difficult situation. The whole area was flooded, including the house in which I was living at that time. I was wading through waters which at the deepest point came up to about chest height. The battery on my phone was completely flat, which meant I couldn't contact anybody.
The watchtower highlighted Tychicus as a trustworthy friend, and my friends have been very trustworthy, and without them, I wouldn't have been able to cope. My dad suddenly had a massive stroke, but then my brother, he left Jehovah, and then just a few months later my dad died.
When I was studying this article, I could immediately put names down for people who helped me, like Aristarchus and Tychicus. But then as it came down to Mark and the practical help that he was able to give, well, I thought, that's my whole congregation. In 2016, my wife Kerry, she lost her battle with cancer. And yeah, all of a sudden I was on my own. Kerry is the best person I ever met. I learned from her that when you let people in, you let Jehovah in too.
I was wading through the water and I was just thinking, if I can just make it to the home of this brother and sister, everything will be all right. And sure enough, when I arrived at their home, I was welcomed inside, an opportunity to get clean, get warm and enjoy a nice meal. And just like Aristarchus was willing to make sacrifices, they offered me to stay in their home for as long as I needed to. It was clearly inconvenient for me to stay in their home, but that inconvenience, it was outweighed by their genuine desire to help and look after me through a difficult time. As soon as I plugged in my phone and it got power, the phone rang, and it was the brother that had been my Bible instructor as a youth, and he was just checking in, making sure that I was all right and that I got everything that I needed. But it didn't stop there. In the time that followed, my friends continued to reach out, to get in touch, to make sure that I got everything that I needed. They even continued to invite me around for meals, just to make sure that I could move on from what had taken place.
A good close friend of mine, she invited me for hot chocolate. And then she just asking how I was getting on. I said I was really struggling to sleep. and she very kindly showed me her journal. I thought it was such a great idea, and I found it really helped. I would always have 5 things that I could say thank you to Jehovah for. My husband Luke is an amazing listener. Just listening to whatever I was feeling at that time, even if it was a bit wild. There were other brothers and sisters that also were very patient with me, and I would repeat myself over and over again. They didn't mind, they were just happy to listen. I needed reassurance because I didn't feel I was coping with my father. It was like I couldn't believe he'd passed away until I'd seen the death certificate. And it was the same with my brother. It wouldn't be real until I heard the announcement. And I thought, that's going to sound very strange. But I shared that with my friend and she said, no, that's fine, it's okay. And that was really reassuring. I didn't think I was going crazy.
When you're faced with something like that, normal things become like epic endeavours. Things that you might have looked forward to suddenly take on a level of anxiety. Some friends of mine, they were like, okay, get into the meetings, that's not even a thing now. You can just come with us. Then I'm going to the meeting with 2 people rather than going on my own. That was super helpful. 2 sisters took it upon themselves to iron my shirts. Look, I could iron shirts, but wow, that was such a help, you know?
I'd like to tell my friends just how much all their support has meant. Not only does it help you get through a difficult period, but that love, that care, that loyalty of sticking with you, it helps you keep stabilising Jehovah's service.
Naturally, you can think, well, I don't really know what to say. I don't think I can do anything to change this. But it's not true. Just the smallest little thing made such a big difference. And they're things that I'll never forget.
The brothers and sisters, out of their thoughtfulness and out of their own creativity, they are able to provide just what you need, just when you need it. It was the most difficult thing that I have ever had to deal with, but it was also the most faith-strengthening thing I've ever been through as well.
Aristarchus, Tychicus, and Mark are just a few examples in the Bible of those who provided comfort. For a personal study project, why not learn about others who did the same, such as Barnabas or Onesiphorus, and how you can imitate them? Every day, patient visitation groups around the world provide comfort to brothers and sisters in the hospital. Let's see how they strengthen those facing serious health issues.
I would ask Jehovah, how am I going to be able to encourage my uncle when I myself need encouragement?
The doctor said, this is your lung. See this mass here? You have lung cancer.
There's a feeling of helplessness when someone you rely on falls ill, and there's so little you can do to help or comfort them.
All right. Well, you can see Watchtower has managed to put itself into somebody else's misfortunes, as if it was the cause of them building someone up. Natural human compassion. Normal, healthy human beings during times of national disasters or loss of loved ones, neighbors, friends, show compassion to that person. That's just a normal human reaction regardless of who you are. But see, Watchtower, their memberships, the Jehovah's Witnesses, isolate themselves so bad they don't experience that. They think the world is full of people that are deviants and demonic followers, and just insanity. They don't see the world for what it is. So, and I get it, some people grow up hard. Some don't have to experience that, but there's still that natural human compassion that's inside us if we're healthy and we help others. It's a drive. But they have to be told to help others. And they only help people who are Jehovah's Witnesses. If you are on the streets and you're starving and you don't have nothing, don't look to Jehovah's Witnesses for help, because they don't help. And there again, if somebody does do something that's generous for another witness, of course, Watchtower takes the credit. They get all the credit and all the glory for other people's doings. It's like, how can this group of people be considered a charitable organization? How can they be a not-for-profit organization? Because they're very profitable, extremely profitable. They don't spend their money. They don't do anything. They don't build up communities. Oh, wait a minute. They consider that if they are spreading their message, that's actually doing something good. But their message is very harsh and hard. And we know that they protect people who has committed the most heinous crimes you can think of, and refuse to give over records. They don't have compassion. They don't help their own members that have been wronged. Instead, they haul them off in front of a group of 3 men and ask some poor young innocent to describe some bad act in front of someone that is the perpetrator. That is insane. As you can hear, Joey's going nuts because people are mowing the yard next door. But it's insanity. It makes no sense whatsoever. But yet, this guy who is experiencing a flood, water up to his chest at times, his phone's dead, he goes to the closest person who is another witness, and they let him stay at their house, plugs in his phone, gets a charge, and the first person calls is the person who baptized him, evidently, or studied with him and got him to the point of baptism. It could have been anybody. That doesn't speak for Watchtower. That's just human compassion. The other gentleman's wife passes. People iron his shirts, go to a meeting with him. That's okay. That's a small little tiny thing, but that's passion. That's neighborly love. Those are things that happen in a normal person's life. It just, and then the lady whose father passes, but what was the emphasis on? The emphasis was on her brother leaving Jehovah. He didn't just leave Jehovah's Witnesses. He didn't just leave the Watchtower. He left Jehovah? Really? How do you know this? Maybe he left Jehovah's Witness organization and found the real and true God. However, they had to put an emphasis on him for leaving the organization, because we all know that they consider the organization Jehovah. So when they say he left Jehovah, they mean he left the organization, because it and God Almighty are the same. That's craziness. So they think that this man, whose father passed, and they should be mourning the loss of his father, just as his sister should, but yet worried because he left the organization. But it also goes to show that they're scared they're losing so many members. They're going to make an emphasis of this. They're going to emphasize on it, and they're going to show people, hey, don't leave the organization because you're following Satan's wicked system. And it's really staying in there is Satan's wicked system. They're very wicked people. Not the people themselves, but the organization. The people that run the organization are very wicked. And they create anger, they create stress, guilt, a lot of fear, obligation. It's all created within that organization, which is interpreted as anger a lot of times, and it comes through. Like I said very early on in this video, just take a look at the comments that we get and ex-witnesses get from the Jehovah's Witnesses that post their comments in our videos and how angry they are. And if you make a rebuttal to their comment, they just go ballistic because they can't handle it. They just, I don't know why they're actually, for them to even comment on a video, it shows and tells me that not all witnesses are really in, but they want to be. They want to be in, but they're out in some ways. Just to the fact that they're commenting on videos means they have questions. And that's the one thing that always I keep in my mind. Even the most harsh and angry comments, I do realize that they would not be, if they followed Watchtower like they're supposed to, would not be watching this video and sure would not be commenting one way or the other. But when they do, they just can't help themselves but to be angry because they got so much of that in them. It's really sad. And who's to blame? Those evil and wicked men that run that organization, the governing body, who claim to be co-rulers with Christ, because the anointed ones will be co-rulers with Christ. So think about that, co-ruler. That means equal to Christ. That's pretty, that's blasphemy. Well, guys, I hope you like this video. I might make a part 2 of this, but, you know, when I say it's not important to me, it might be important to someone else, the rest of this. So I may consider doing a part 2 to this. It's just a lot of monotone talk. This guy, I think his name's James Mance. He has the worst voice I've ever saw. That's like, they were really gasping for straws on who was going to do this one. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, we have a store. You can click in the link below. There's shirts, hats, coffee mugs, tumblers, everything. We also have the Buy Us a Cup of Coffee if you really like this video and you like the message that we're portraying here and the things that we're trying to bring to light. Please get us a cup of coffee. It's really appreciated. And if you want to reach out to us, factsonjw@gmail.com. If you have a story to share, please do. And, you know, if you just want to just have some expressions of your feelings there, just send it over to the email. We're live every Saturday at 4 or 4:30 and sometimes Sundays. And we try to post videos every couple of days. So sometimes we don't get there. Anyway, guys, thank you so very much. Very thankful that you watched this, and have a wonderful and blessed day. and love everybody around you. Peace, love.